Hey everyone, it is Wednesday night. Welcome back to the Love and Marriage podcast hosted by myself, Wendy O, and my co-host, Hotep Jesus. We're doing this on his YouTube channel. Thank you guys for coming back and listening to us banter because we got some interesting topics tonight. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, set alerts, help support the channel because Hotep does a lot of other really, really great stuff for everybody. So anyways, how you doing tonight, Hotep?
Doing well. Like I told you, I was listening to the watching the DMX versus Snoop Dogg versus battle. Oh man, and like it just takes me back to like senior year of high school and driving to other towns picking up girls, and my homie thought he was DMX. He used to growl like DMX and everything, and we used to be in the crib. I'm slipping, falling, I can't get up, and Snoop and all his old gangster music that came out when I was like 14. And it's just like I'm late for my own show because I just gotta catch a lot of this stuff. But it's just epic, man. Epic. Put me in a real good mood, man.
That's some good stuff. It's always because I'm not too terribly far from Long Beach, and we were actually going to buy our house over in Long Beach, where he grew up. Long Beach is a very interesting.
LBC.
Yep, LBC. It's a very interesting place because, and actually, my stepson, their grandma lives in Long Beach. She's been there for like 80 years or something. Been in the same house, like in the hood. I think she's the only white lady on the street, but she's been there
Gangster.
forever. Yeah, she's been there forever, and it's a Long Beach is a really really cool neighborhood because it's like you have to go by streets. Like some streets will be like super ghetto, and then other streets will be really really nice, and then
Mm.
it's just very very diverse. There's a lot of people there. There's a lot of moving and shaking, and then they've got the water over there. So I like Long Beach. I like the people out there. I used to have a friend. I used to go pick him up. He lived in Long Beach, and then I pick him up. We go to all the punk rock shows and hang out and stuff.
Mm. LBC, yeah, Cali, such a vibe, such a vibe. I'll be back soon.
What are you eating?
Some egg out of this sandwich I had earlier. That's been sitting on my desk dry since for like 6 hours.
Oh, speaking of food, I went to the spot. Oh, I talked to my trainer. She's down to come on, so I'm going to try to get her to come on next week. I'll set everything up and I'll email you.
Or the
She's
week after, because you're not going to be here next week.
Yeah, not next week, the week after. So, guys, if you're watching this, I'm going to be out of town with the family next week. I'm going to just go chill. I'm going to unplug, just try to relax a bit. I'll still be on Twitter shit talking, so don't come for me. But yeah, we'll be gone next week. So the week after, I'm going to try to get my boxing trainer to come on because she's also a therapist and she does like marriage counseling and stuff. She's dope. I'm actually going to release a video tomorrow of us training from last night, and you'll get to see her for the first time.
Dope. Somebody said Wendy O got some new makeup on tonight.
I do. I actually got my lashes done today.
You got them fake ones sewn on?
Oh hell yeah! They glue them on.
You got eye weave.
I do have eye weave. So in California, they shut schools, they shut churches, they shut AA meetings down. Apparently, our governor, whoever the hell he is, Newsom, he's telling everybody you can't have prayer meetings in your house anymore. You can't have Bible readings in your house. They shut down salons, but the Walmarts are open. The Amazon is still open. People are literally putting like Denny's and different restaurants are they're putting tables and chairs outside, so people are still able to eat outside because you can't do the dine-in anymore. It's just very, very ridiculous and bizarre. A lot of doctors' offices are closed, so doctors' offices, you can't, if you have an appointment, they're like canceling all their patients' appointments unless you need to actually go to the hospital, which is the way they're doing it. It's like if you're going to shut everything, if you're going to have a shutdown, shut everything down. Do what you did like a couple months ago. Shut everything down. Don't let certain places stay open. But my lash place is still open, and it's just me and the lash lady with the mask on, and they have all the windows and everything open. So I'm not going to stop going if I'm doing, if it's just me and her. I don't really see what the risk is if we're wearing masks and we're using hand sanitizer.
Yeah. Out here by me, we got our favorite spot that we go eat, and yeah, it's all outdoor dining, which is kind of cool, right? Because you're outside. I really don't want to be inside of a place, not because of COVID. It's just more enjoyable to be outside. Got the breeze and all of that. But yeah, we're definitely living in a very weird time.
Yeah, I don't know. And I've like I talked about it a little bit before. I fell down the QAnon rabbit hole a bit to kind of see what was, what's going on with all this stuff. And I guess it kind of brings us into our first, well, was there something else? Oh, before we get started down that, I have a kind of an exciting announcement, something I decided to do, a new it's not really a new venture, it's just something I'm gonna be doing in my personal time.
Okay.
So
What you got?
I fell down the rabbit hole and I noticed, and I was already really upset with the schools being closed and with all the domestic violence victims being stuck in the house with their abusers. That bothered me a lot.
Yeah.
So I, instead of me sitting on my ass arguing with people on the internet, I reached out to my favorite charity that's, pretty close to me. And what they do is they house men, women, or anybody who's in a domestic issue, to where, and they take the kids too, so you can go stay there in the shelter. So I submitted my application to become a crisis intervention worker, to where I get to help them answer the phone 24/7. And so
Oh wow.
I have an interview on the 27th when I'm out of town, like a 30-minute Zoom interview, just so they can make sure what I'm saying is true. I got my letter of recommendation done. I told them about the work that I did at my old job in infectious disease, HIV/AIDS. So if they accept me, then I get to do like a 60-hour training program. It's during the day. It's like 2 hours twice a week. And so I'll be doing, like, I get to go to the facility. I get to help like with food. And then what I really want to do is do the crisis work. Cause I touched on that a little bit when I worked in infectious disease, but I'm really excited to actually be putting my money where my mouth is and going out there and actually making a difference.
There you go. That's what it's all about, man. You know, shut up and make a difference. Shut up and help somebody. Shut up and help. That's what it's about these days, man. We want to change the world. Get up off your ass and make it happen. I love it.
Hmm. So I'm hype. I'm super hype about that. So what do you want to talk about first? Because we got lots of stuff to talk about. We got the Kim and Kanye
What's on
thing.
the Okay, what else we got? Kim and Kanye. Uh huh.
Because that's a big thing. And then we
Yeah.
got the Me Too movement, because I've got personal stories that I want to talk about with that, and then give my opinion on some of that stuff. And then
Yeah.
my one somebody from crypto Twitter had posted, because they're from Canada, they posted the BCCDC, which is like the CDC, but they gave sex recommendations for the residents of Canada, and I can read the list to you. Do you want me to send it to you?
Let's start with that first because I
It's
don't know what the hell that is.
Yeah, let me go ahead and send it to you. It's very, very, very bizarre. Let me find you and send it to you. So I want you to take a minute to look at what they said, because, and it's on Twitter. I just DM'd you there because it's easier than email.
All right.
And so they says COVID-19 and sex. And this is from the BCCDC, which is like the CDC in Canada. Steps to protect yourself during sex. Here are some ways to lower the risk of being exposed to COVID during sex with others.
I'm reading this. Oh my god. What the hell? Wash your body with soap and water before and after sex.
Wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Wash sex toys thoroughly with soap and water. Don't you do these things anyways?
That's what
don't,
I'm saying.
don't you do these things, like wear a face mask?
No, number one, it says ask your partner if they're feeling unwell or have any symptoms of COVID-19. Like imagine that, like you about to get it in with your girl, and you're like, hold on, babe, do you have any symptoms of COVID? Like what?
Okay. So then it said avoid or limit kissing and saliva exchange. If you're doing an intimate act with your partner, that is part of it, okay? That is intimate. That is the lovemaking. Next, use this is the kicker. I don't know if I could say this with a straight face. Use barriers like walls, e.g., glory holes, that allow for sexual contact but prevent close face-to-face contact.
Oh my god.
So
Oh my god.
let's talk about glory holes for a second. And I will speak on it, because when I worked with the HIV/AIDS community, the majority of the population majority of the population is they're gay males, and generally glory holes are found in sex stores. They're found in parks, or they're found in like dirty ass bars. And it's generally for gay men, which that's
Really?
fine. That's their business. Yeah, that's from my experience, from what I know about them.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. And I mean, when when they said avoid like this face to face contact, the first thing that came to mind for me was um, the Hasidic Jewish um, ritual of having sex. They put like this bed sheet between
Yes.
them,
Hmm.
and then they put like a hole in it. So that's something like is that how we're gonna be doing it now? Like,
Apparently, so when we're done, I'm gonna go with my man. You're gonna go with your girl, and that's what we're gonna practice. We're gonna practice. We learned something about practicing safe sex tonight.
and then they're like advocating for like doggy style because they said avoid sexual positions that limit face to face contact. So it's like, all right, doggy style is it, right? What the fuck is going on?
It's the world is a very bizarre place. It's like that's it, sexual intercourse with your partner, is very it's an intimate thing. Like and I feel like if you take sex away from inside the household, they're already trying to take Bibles away or religious practicings from inside the household. You take sex away, people are really gonna lose their shit.
Right, right, right. Jesus Christ. And things just can't get any weirder in 2020. Thank you, baby.
I think that how's she doing?
Oh, she's doing very well. Oh, damn, that's a nice ass, girl.
I love it.
she's she's doing well. She's showing a little bit more, and baby's healthy. And yeah, I'm excited. Got my fourth coming, my baby girl, Dakota.
Oh, isn't it fun when you start to actually see the bump a little bit?
Yeah, yeah, I rub it and I talk to her. Yeah,
We used to
yeah,
do that too.
I'll be taking the headphones and playing some classical Mozart for the baby, and then probably run some Spanish and English
Hmm.
for the baby.
Did you play some Snoop Dogg for the baby?
Absolutely not. My child will not hear rap music until the age of 18.
What about your kids now? Do they hear rap?
Yeah, yeah, they hear rap, they hear it, but um, I think kids more like kid music. They be playing like shit like from like YouTube viral video music. So I'm like, what the fuck are y'all saying? It's like some shit that went viral on YouTube. My daughter, she actually has pretty good taste in music. She likes girly girl music. So I think the worst thing I heard her listen to was like the new Takashi song with um Nicki Minaj. I heard her in the room like doing that shit, but I'm like, it's definitely her age group. Like Takashi 6ix9ine makes music for kids, right? It's
Yeah.
like silly and stupid, and if I was her age, I'd probably be into it too, right? But most of the time, she's got some really good taste in music.
He looks like a 13-year-old.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah.
So, I went to go see my mom last night, and I was talking about simps because I forgot how it got brought up because I post the boxing videos, and when I post the boxing videos, I get all these dudes in my mention. They're like, "Wendy, your hands are up. You're not doing this. You're not doing that." Da, 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 da. And I feel like saying, "Have you ever trained before? Like, you just shut the fuck up." Like, so I was like, just explain to my mom like what a simp was, or I tried to, and my mom like she had her glasses on, and she was real tired. She's like, "A simp? What is a simp?" And I tried to explain it to her, and she's like, "What?" So she's like, does it mean a silly, invasive, um, something or male prostitute?" And I was like, "What?"
Oh, she thought it was an acronym.
Yeah, she thought it was an acronym, so she tried to figure it out. I'm like, "No, mom, it's just some guy. It's like a beta cuck." And she's like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oof." But I thought that was pretty funny because just where she is. So do you want to talk about so do you think people should listen to the CDC's recommendation? These sexual
um,
recommendations?
if you haven't been washing your ass, then there's no hope for you. So I hope you get COVID and everything else that comes with it. Um, but no, I don't think we should listen to that bullshit ass list of things because if you're having intercourse, you're screwed anyway, literally and figuratively.
I mean, I personally think I'm because I'm one somebody I know just got COVID and he's talking about the symptoms because I had swine flu a million years ago and the COVID symptoms are very similar to like the swine flu symptoms where you just feel like utter shit for like a week, high fevers, really bad body aches, you can't move. And then after that you still have it, but it like goes away after 2 to 3 weeks. But after the first week you're like, you're starting to feel back to normal again. But it's like well, if you're having sex anyways, there's way other worse things that you can get. Like there's HIV, there's herpes, which is lifelong, there's syphilis and all that other stuff. And that stuff goes untreated, which are sometimes there's not symptoms. You go cuckoo. You die, you get sick and you die.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyways, you want to talk about you want to do the Me Too or you want to do Kanye and Kim?
let's do Me Too and then
All
round
right.
out with Kanye and Kim.
All right. So the Me Too, there's a lot of stuff going on with that. Do you want to kind of talk about what's going on with Hannity and what inspired your tweet earlier? And then I'll kind of chime in.
Yeah, I don't know the details, and I sympathize with women and women of sexual abuse, um, sex trafficking, and all of that, and fucking pedophiles and their scumbag ass. I think it's disgusting that these things happen, right? So let's just lay that out first.
Mhm.
I don't know Hannity. I know people close to Hannity, from what I've heard, and it means nothing. But he doesn't seem like that type of guy. But when I first heard the news that Hannity and Tucker Carlson were under fire for this, my first reaction was, yeah, right. Like this is probably some leftist push nonsense, right? And then somebody popped up in my mentions and showed me a picture of one of the accusers was actually um, her header before this story came out was her with Hannity, right? So like, like who has if he was your abuser, who has your abuser as your Twitter header, right?
Somebody cuckoo.
Um, Exactly. Yeah. So, which leads me to believe that there's probably some false accusations occurring here. And again, I don't have the details, so I cannot say anything 100% certain. But my initial hunch is this is some bullshit. I mean, we have a clear candidate on the left, who, what was his name? Oh man, fucking the he was bringing like gay crackheads into his house and they were like dying. Um,
I got a story about that.
what's that?
Are you talking about Ed Buck?
Ed Buck. Thank you. Yeah, like the Ed Buck things happen, right?
Hmm.
And it's like the left like that gets pigeonholed, right? But so I'm always leery of stories that go viral. But go ahead.
I know Ed Buck personally.
Do you?
Yes, he lived in West Hollywood. And when I worked in West Hollywood, I worked for the largest HIV/AIDS organization globally. And
Mm-hmm.
he would frequent, I can't give too much information, but he would frequent the thrift store next door to us that was also owned by us. He knew the man that hired me, which is a gay man, a very, very nice gay man. And he just, a lot of the community knew who he was because he was very rich. He trained dogs. He always had dogs with him all the time, rescues. He never worked. Um, but would walk around the streets of West Hollywood and he would pick men up in that store, in the thrift store. And the reason why he would frequent that area, because a couple blocks down on Santa Monica Boulevard in Las Palmas, there was a lot of black transgenders that would hang out in that area and they would prostitute themselves. And the reason why they would prostitute themselves in that area was because they had a shelter there that was specifically for transgenders. But in that particular area, it was just there was like a lot of black transgenders. For some reason, I don't know why. But he would pick them up. I remember when all that stuff happened, and I'm not going to say how he would walk around or what he would be walking around with, so people knew that he was cruising and picking up. But he was a fucking perv,
Oh my god.
and
Oh my god.
and even my coworker, the pharmacy manager,
Mm.
she just like because we'd go to the thrift store to walk around on our breaks and stuff, and she would just always come back and she'd be like, "There's something's not right with him." So we didn't know who he was. We didn't know he was like one of those Democratic that he was donating all that money to Hillary and stuff like that. But I remember when that poor young man passed away, and a lot of,
mm,
and because I remember we read it, and I was like kind of shook to my core. I'm like, what the fuck? Because I didn't know them. I didn't know the man that had passed away, but I had worked with a lot of people in that area, and everybody knows everybody there. So if you know one person, you know everybody knows everyone. And a lot of those, a lot of the prostitutes, they had a very, very, it wasn't, I don't believe he was a transgender prostitute, but a lot of them, they have a very similar story. It's like they become gay, their family throws them out, and they have to prostitute to get money.
mm,
And it was just, the whole story was really sad. And I remember reading it, and I'm thinking to myself, he did it. He had to have done it. And because meth is very prevalent in West Hollywood. You don't overdose from meth. There's no overdoses from meth ever. Very, very rare.
mm,
And I want to say there was heroin in the guy's system or something. And a lot of people, I actually, none of, I had a couple clients that used heroin, and I'm talking about a group of about 200 to 300 clients monthly. I had a couple guys that did heroin. Most of them are straight though, but meth was very, very prevalent. But I feel
mm.
like he tried to cover it up because he was, you get the malokia. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah, yeah. And then you got Biden, right? Like Biden's touching on fucking little girls, and
Hmm.
like he just gives like rapey vibes, right? And it's just like, so when I see the Kennedy and Tucker thing, and I'm just like, I don't know how much validity there is here, and I think we definitely, I don't trust the believe all women thing, from somebody who's been accused of shit. Women lie, especially when you're a high profile individual. Women will just lie on you, for
Hmm.
whatever reason. You got some women that'll lie on you because you've turned them down, right?
100%. I got a story about that too. I'll let you finish.
No, go ahead, jump right into that right
So
now.
my stepsister was dating someone. I was very, very good friends with him as well. She had moved to go stay with her mom, but she was still dating this dude. And there was a close circle of us girls. There was like 4 or 5 of us. So, and we all used to hang together. Everybody knew each other. Everyone would hang out. My stepsister didn't want to come this particular evening, but she would always tell me, she's very intuitive. Her and I don't talk anymore. We're not, where I just would call her my stepsister. We were very close. Our parents dated. So she would tell me, she goes, I think our friend X is going to sleep with my man. And I go, why do you think that? She's like, I just have a feeling. I don't know if she willed this to happen or whatever it was, but we're all at the guy's house. We are just chilling. He was older. He was a nice guy. Very, very nice guy. Good friend of mine. Him and I, we beefed a little bit, but it was like more like brotherly sister stuff. So I remember it was late. We were drinking. Everybody was underage. I think he was 18 at the time and we were 16, something like that. But that's what you do when you're that age. The girls always hang out with older guys. Okay, fine, whatever. And her boyfriend, I think her boyfriend at the time was 21 or something like that. That's another story though. So she got drunk. She used to get really, really trashed. She used to take a lot of pills. And I couldn't find her and I couldn't find him because there was like maybe 10 or 15 of us. So I go in the guy's house and I'm like looking for her. And I hear like moaning and stuff. So I open the door and she's like on top of him, riding him. I'm like, oh, okay. So I shut the door. And then she like I wait outside the door and I just to make sure everything's good and because I knew that what she was doing was wrong. And she knew I was
Mm,
going to tell my stepsister because it's my stepsister. I'm going to tell her, something, the bed that guy had to make. So the next day I call my girl, my stepsister. I tell her what happened, and then the next day, our friend X says he raped me, and I told my stepsister, no, he didn't, and she goes, well, that's what she said, and I go, no, he didn't, and I go, I was there. She didn't. I said, when a woman is on top of a man like moaning and whatever, I was like, no, because I walked in, I was intoxicated, yes, but I'm not stupid. I'm no geek off the
right.
street. Like I'm not stupid. So she ran with that story. So what she did to cover her butt and to cover, because she was dating someone at the time, she told everybody. She told like, because teenagers, they gossip, they talk. She told the whole school. She told all the friends. She told her boyfriend's group of friends. They're all military because she wanted drama, whatever. I was mad. So I was like, no, and I'm going to use the word bitch because that's a bitch right there. And it made me mad because I was friends with the guy and is my stepsister's dude. And that's wrong. Like you don't do that ever. Like I'm not perfect, but I'm not going to lie about some that type of stuff. So that made me mad. And plus, he was older too, and I was like, oh my god, he's going to get in trouble. Like, and he didn't do anything. So what happened was, I stepped up. I said something. her and her friend came to my house with a group of 15 people, and my because I was homeschooled at the time, because what ended up happening was I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. I had a lot of, it like hurt my feelings because all my friends, I didn't have any friends anymore because no one wanted to be my friend anymore because they're like, oh, she da 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 da. So I went and I did homeschooling, and she kept saying this guy raped her. I'm like, whatever. So it kept persisting. So eventually she came to my house with her friend and like 15 other people, and they beat me up. Well, they didn't really beat me up. They jumped me in front of my house
Wow.
for that. But I ended up catching her, and I ended up catching the other girl by themselves. We won't talk about that.
Oh my. Gangster Wendy O stories from the hood.
But that type of shit, and for people like myself, people that are survivors that actually had shit happen to us, that shit makes it harder for us. And I'm going to tell you another story. My best friend, my roommate, it was late at night. We were working at clubs at night. We went to go hang out with our friends. It was my ex boyfriend, I think, was living there, and our really good friend, a couple of our really good friends, guys we grew up with that we knew really really well. So my friend, my roommate, like my sister, I knew her forever. She went to go lay down in the guys of the house's bed, and that was like everybody was very very close. It's like, okay, she's tired, she wanted to sleep because we were partying, whatever. So I had gone outside, I think, to smoke a cigarette or to call my man or to do whatever it was. And so I go back in the house, and the door's shut, and I hear screaming, and my guy friends are sitting on the couch. And I'm like, I look at them, and I'm very, very intoxicated. It's like 2 or 3 in the morning. I look at them. I says, "Is she screaming?" And they go, "Yeah, think I hear screaming." I was like, "Are you guys fucking kidding me?" So I went and I started pounding on the door. I tried to break the door down because I couldn't get in there. And then the guy walks out with his, he's laying in bed, and she runs out with her pants halfway up and is like screaming and crying. And then I freaked out. I'm like, what the actual hell is going on? Like, we have this going on in this room, and then you idiots are sitting back here not doing anything. And I'm like, I was like higher and more intoxicated than all these other people. I'm like, am I the only responsible adult in this house? And I was like, I was like shocked. I was like, I didn't know what to do. So I put her in her car. I think she drove home or drove to wherever. I ran back in the house. I started going off. And then I ended up calling my man at the time and his brother, and they came down and they took care of the situation. But I remember, and this is part of the important part, is she wanted to, I don't know how long it took for her to go down to the police station to report it, but by the time she actually went down there and told them what happened, it's very traumatic for a woman when they have to go and they actually have to report this stuff, the women that it did happen to. And the reason why is because you have to go to the police station. Then they make you go to the hospital. They make you sit in the room. You have to tell your story multiple times over and over again to many different people. They have to go in. They got to swab you. You don't want no one looking at you after that,
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know what happened but something happened with the test to where they couldn't prove it. And I think to that point, she was like, she just ended up dropping the charges because they couldn't prove it. And they told her it's going to be too hard for you to prove, even though people had saw it. So what's frustrating, and I remember, because things that happened to me, I never reported them. I was just like, okay, whatever. But I just felt so bad for her because she was so upset. And we ended up going to a funeral. One of our friends had passed away, and the mom of the kid that passed away asked this guy, the offender, to speak. And she was like, and my friend was like, she had her dad come to the funeral because she wanted to go to the funeral. It was our good friend. I just remember her face, how upset she was, because she's like, this guy, he's up here speaking like he's a good person, and he's not. And I was there. I didn't watch it, but I was there. And the thing that upsets me about these women is that they don't think about the other women who actually have had things done to them and how hard it makes it for them. It is so hard to get up and to have to talk, like, after you're violated like that. And this goes for men too, because it does happen with men as well. And I'm not discounting men, but anybody who's a victim of this stuff, for you to have to get up and to say, and to realize, okay, this is what's happened to me. Because a lot of times you block it out. You're just like, to get through it. To have to go through all of that stuff and then have to go tell somebody, like to get the strength to go have
Yeah.
to tell somebody. And these other women that are sitting here playing these stupid ass games, like, oh,
Right.
like, because they got rejected or because they're just evil people, it makes it
Yeah.
hard for the actual women or children or whoever it is to come forward. And
Right.
I remember another time, well, because there's another scenario that happens, and it happens a lot in Hollywood. The scenario is you get these girls that they are 14, 16, whatever it is. They lie about being their age. I knew this girl. I always hated her because my best friend liked her and I liked my best friend. It was a whatever. I couldn't stand this girl though. And she lied to this guy on MySpace and she says, I'm 18 or I'm 19. And he's like, okay, well, you come to my house. It's 2 a.m. Everybody knows. You go to a guy's house at 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's booty call hours.
That's booty call hours. That's it.
Right.
Especially if it's a musician, because that's what they do. That's
Right.
part of the, especially in rock. That's what you do.
Yeah.
And so she went there, and I don't know what happened. I wasn't there, but she said that he raped her, which I'm pretty sure that's not what happened. I'm pretty sure that she probably is just an idiot. And so she started this huge big drama about it, and like everybody got mad at me because I was calling her out. I'm like, dude, come on. So it's
Mm.
situations like that where it's like it just ruins it for other people that have actually gone through the trauma.
That's the problem I have with it. It's that real victims are now not given. What am I trying to say here? They're not taken seriously. Sometimes people are questioning real victims because there's so many false accusers out there, right? And
Mhm.
that's hurtful to somebody who's actually been abused or raped or whatever the case may be. Um, and the false accusers really, I feel like false accusers should go to jail,
They
right? Like,
should, because they're lying. They're basically lying under oath because
yeah,
you hear about these men, like you hear about some of these football players and these basketball, like with Kobe, that woman. I don't think that woman. I don't know for sure, but from the sound of it, people are like, oh well, he paid her off, so that must mean it was his fault. And I'm thinking to myself, no, he paid her off to get her to get the fuck out of his life
right.
because why it's sometimes it's easy if you have fuck you money, it's easier just to pay people to go away to have to deal with it.
Right, right, because that leaves such a stain on your legacy and your name, right? When they say, oh, because like even when Kobe died, they were like, oh, he's a rapist, and I'm like, come on, yo, like Kobe ain't no
I was
rapist, man.
so
Like,
mad. I was so mad. So mad.
and even when like the other day, I tweeted something about I said Kanye is the greatest human being to live since MJ, and people were like, oh, MJ was a pedophile. Like, come the fuck on, yo, like how many times does this have to be proven that like you got a kid that comes forward and is like, yo, my parents told me to lie. My parents told me to lie. Right. And it's just like, it's just terrible, man. It's just really fucked up. So I think that people who false accuse, you should be able to take them to court. I don't know what the charge may be from a legal standpoint, what the jargon is, but if you falsely accuse somebody, you should be able to, then there should be a penalty for jail time. Fuck a fine. You should sit down and think about like what the fuck you did, because not only are you ruining somebody else's name and reputation, making it hard for them to get their coin out here, but also you're hurting other actual people who were actually abused, right?
Hmm.
You're hurting their case for people believing them, right? And it's a very sad thing for somebody who has been abused and nobody believes them, right? Like that's got to be super hurtful when nobody believes you, right?
Well, I had a situation. There was, and I'm not gonna give time frames on this particular one. I had a situation. Somebody did something that made me feel uncomfortable. They they didn't just do it to me, they did it to other women, and they told their girlfriend that she's gonna do, she's gonna say that I tried to rape her so that she can save her, so that she can make herself look good. And I'm thinking to myself,
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't know me that well. You don't know what I've been through.
Right.
I've
Right.
kept my mouth shut about a lot of things that have been pertained to me. When it comes to a friend of mine, that's a different story. But it's like, how dare, and this is a dude that said it, and it's like, how dare you make that assumption about me?
Mm.
That
Mm,
that made me mad. But it's like, Ben, you're right though. These people that are these men or women or whoever that are saying things and lying, even if it's the parents of the kid, because the kid, I mean, let's face it. I don't know the age group when you can really tell a kid, like when it's not the child, like when the parents are pushing it and it's not the child's fault anymore. That's a whole slippery topic. But it's like they have to be accountable for something, because there's people like
yes.
Kobe had his family involved, like
Right.
his poor kids. Like, it's like, are you, it's like, I get these women, they're money hungry. And like my mom and I, we actually had a conversation about Donald Trump, and we were talking about Donald Trump and Biden. And I told my mom, I go, he's an effing pedo. Like, he's to me, he's disgusting, like gross. And
Yeah.
then the argument that people are making is like, oh, well, Trump is a womanizer and Trump did this and that. And this is, and people that are watching this, you guys might not understand where I'm coming from. So I don't, if you want to judge me, that's fine. But I told my mom, because I feel very strongly about saving the babies and saving the kids. I told my mom, I said, I'd rather have some creepy old man grab my ass than do something bad to a child. That's the analogy
Mm,
that I gave.
mm. Yeah, I think that I don't know. I'm not a woman, right? So I wouldn't know how to deal with that. But I can understand the statement you just made. Let me read a super chat really fast. Charlie, $5 super chat. He says, "So you on RU Live? That's Renegade University with Thad yesterday. Thanks for your time. You guys got to get together more often. Take care." Yeah, I had an awesome conversation with Thaddeus Russell, Renegade University yesterday. It'll be published, I'm sure within the next week or so, and some edits you guys will see. But we had a very candid conversation about race and America and the left, and it was a really, really, really great, interesting conversation. So that'll be out soon. And Chris Jones, $200 super chat. Wow,
You.
who are you, Chris Jones? Thank you, I appreciate you. Chris Jones in the chat, he asked, "Are Epstein's girls really victims? Though they all consented to all of it for material wealth and money. They only came out against him to get his money." All right, let's talk about that. Let's talk
Let's talk
about
about that. All right.
so like, oh, go ahead.
Okay, so I was a young girl once. I was a 13, 14-year old. That's actually when I lost my virginity, and it was not by choice. So that wasn't really too much fun. But it wasn't like a violent thing. It was more, I didn't know. I had no idea. I was just like, oh, we're gonna go do this with my boy. Like, it was me and my boyfriend. I was like, oh, we're gonna go do this. And I didn't know. I thought we were just gonna go fool around, and it ended up being more than that. And I wasn't ready for that. And I was like, I don't want to do this. But it was kind of, it's a weird situation. So I'm not trying to say nothing bad about no one, but the reason why I'm bringing it up and I'm talking about it, because normally, like crypto stuff, I wouldn't talk about this because, whatever. But this is important because I do think people need to hear and understand. When you're
Okay.
13 years old, when you're 14 years old, as a girl, you're not an adult by any fucking means. Just because you have boobs and because you look like an adult, you are not. So if you were a grown, and I'm going to give two sides of this story for both
Okay.
sides because I like to be non-biased. If you are a grown ass man, if you are, I don't want to say 18 because sometimes 18 is, you know, your men are still kids. If you're
Right.
over, if you're a grown ass man over 21 or 20 and you're messing with a 13, 14-year-old girl, you're disgusting. And that's it.
Absolutely.
I don't care because they are not, they
You
might
sick.
say
You sick in the head. You sick in the head.
they are not mature enough. I wasn't mature enough. Even, and so that's why I'm not accusing this guy or saying whatever is my fault. I played a role in it too. But you're not mature enough to make decisions. And sometimes your mind doesn't process things the way, for example, when I was 18 to 13, big difference, huge difference. I'm able to process things a lot differently. I'm able to think logically, or I was able to think logically then. So when you're that young, and especially this guy, he's an old
And
ass.
I think there's also a sense of security, right? Like I
Yes,
think when you're
that's a
younger,
daddy issue. It's a daddy issue.
yeah, I think when you're younger, you're not as secure in yourself. Like I'm not, go. Let's even go back 10 years. I'm more secure in myself now than I was 10 years ago. So imagine when you're a teenager, right, and how unsure you are of yourself. So when you're unsure of yourself, you often make bad decisions
Right.
or could
So
make bad decisions.
I watched I'm still in the process of watching the documentary. It's a little hard, um, but this documentary, it kind of both sides. I think, um, and the issue that I'm seeing is that a lot of these girls, they come from poor neighborhoods, they come from broken households, they have daddy issues, or they have I come from a household without my father. When you have those types of issues, you generally look for older men because you need to feel the want and you want to feel like somebody's proud of you. Even if you have dad at home and dad is not, communicating with you and talking to you, you generally look for men to fill that void. It's just human nature. Were these girls wrong for continuing to go back? Yes. But at the same time, they were young girls. They were very, very young. They were very impressionable. He was paying them $200 back, what was it, in the 90s or early 2000s, was a lot of money. I think I was making like $200 a month or $400 a month. That was minimum wage or something. That's a lot of money for just going for an hour. When you when you're getting money like that and you're trying to escape from something at home, your mind is not working correctly because there's other issues going into play. So there's that aspect. He was a predator though. He was 100% a predator. He was a pedo. He was a rapist. He did very bad things. Any man, he was like 40 or 50, 60, however old he was. That's
Mm-hmm.
disgusting. Okay? They
Yeah.
weren't even most of them weren't even 18. But then the
Right.
other point that I do want to bring up is should they have just if you're not in that situation, it's hard for you to judge because you don't know what's going on through those girls' head. Maybe they felt that if they didn't go back and consent, that he would hurt them. Maybe you don't know what was said there.
Right. There's a lot of details missing. Yeah.
So I don't want to just take their side, but because there are some, I mean, there's lots of different things that could happen, but considering the facts, considering what happened, considering the way he manipulated these girls, I kind of just want to blame. I kind of want to place blame on him for it because he knew what he was.
And Jelaine.
Huh?
And Jelaine Maxwell.
Yeah. Oh, please. She's any other woman that inflicts harm on other women like that. That's
Mhm.
disgusting. That's
Yeah.
disgusting.
I mean, we, that's been my problem with young girls, and even young girls with, sex trafficking, and I'm talking about legal sex trafficking, like OnlyFans, right?
Hmm.
And they turn 18 and now they want to sell their news, right? And there's a lot of women affirming that lifestyle, and there's a lot of history to it. I'm reading running history of the United States by Thaddeus Russell now, and he details the history of prostitution and sex trafficking, legal sex trafficking in the United States of America. Um, but when you look at the history of it, there's always been a madame, as it was in the Victorian age and prior, that it was a woman that before there was pimps, there was women, and men didn't become the pimp until prostitution became illegal, and then that's when kind of like men pop into the picture, and I'm sure they existed prior too, but women really controlled that, right? And then today, when we see like the feminists and sex work affirmation, I remember a few years back, a little scandal hit Black Twitter where a grown woman was taking, was basically grooming young girls for the
Hmm.
industry, and playing like third party to sell their nudes and whatnot. So
Hmm.
that was, a lot of people want to kind of center men around this stuff, and I think men definitely deserve some blame, especially if they're a part of this or a part of whatever circumstance it is. And shout out to Eliza Blue because she's a victim of sexual trafficking, and she's a sexual trafficking advocate, and she fights for that, and she does a great job advocating for that. But you know, when we look at Jelaine Maxwell, you start seeing like that Madame thing, right? And the feminists are contributing to some of that stuff and whatnot. And it's just like like men deserve some blame, but I think that the bad part is the fact that a woman knows exactly what to say to a young girl,
Hmm.
right? As whereas men, we might know something. We might got a little bit of game or whatever, or pimp something, whatever the fuck, Epstein has. I don't know. But Jelaine knows exactly what to say, right? To
Mhm.
like get these girls in the room and, make them feel quote unquote comfortable, right? And you see the people like dropping dead all around that case right now, like the judge and all of that stuff.
That was
Um,
tragic. She was actually pretty close. She was in Los Angeles County. That's where she grew up. The
wow.
judge, she was
Wow.
like one of the first Latino judges. Probably not. She wasn't like in the hood, but the Latinos got struggle out here. They definitely do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't know, man. Shit's like really, really, really fucked up. You know, the Epstein thing. I haven't really followed it too much. And I haven't watched the documentary because my girl was watching it, and I'm listening to it in the background while I'm playing chess or whatever. And I know that that special is softballing the whole situation, and they're trying to implicate other people like Chris Tucker and Donald Trump. And it's just like,
That pissed me off because this is the thing. A lot of celebrities hang out together, and it's because it's a very tight knit group of people because they all have money, they all are famous, they all understand the struggle because everybody's got their own struggle.
especially when we're talking about LA, right?
LA,
Like
it's
LA
very
is
tight knit.
really small.
Yes,
LA is really
100%.
small. I don't know if anybody understands like LA, Hollywood area. Like if you go to Hollywood to party, you've got like a 1 block radius to party, right? Like a
Yeah.
1 block area to party. So if you party, then the thing is the clubs close at 2 p.m., just like Jersey, right? So
Mhm.
like people want to party afterwards. So you're probably all going to end up at the same house party or the same 2 or 3 house parties, So it's real easy to be caught taking a picture with the wrong guy or being in the house with or at a party with somebody who's a fucking asshole abuser and shit like that. So when they implicate people like Chris Tucker and all that, I'm like, yo, like, do you realize they how small these circles are? Like, I remember when I was working for 50 and we're out in New York City, right? And New York City, people say is a big city, but when I went out, I saw, I have this joke where I say I see the same 7 people every single time.
Mhm.
Every time I went out, it was like I saw somebody I knew, right? I went to one party on Friday. Hey, what's up? I went to Saturday. I saw somebody else I knew. Like it wasn't, there was like, and you would think with a city as big as New York City, which isn't that big technically, but you would think with a densely populated city like New York City, you wouldn't run into somebody you know. But when you start dealing with certain industries, like, and I was in the music industry or rap industry to be more specific, you see the same people over and over again. And I took pictures with a lot of people, like RP Fred the Godson. Like, you take pictures with a lot of different people. You hang out with people. I was hanging out with, some of the Italian mob wives, right? And
Mhm.
all types of stuff. So it's like, just because somebody took a picture with somebody, you can't really say they were implicated in the process of the sexual trafficking or the rape that occurred. And that's what I didn't like about the Netflix documentary. And I'm listening in the background, and I'm like, and I knew they were going to softball it because it's mainstream, and but it just doesn't seem like they're going as hard on him in this documentary on Epstein as they should, or Ghislaine Maxwell. It felt really soft to me.
Well, I told you I'm down the Q rabbit the QAnon rabbit hole, and there are a lot of, and that's what TikTok is so great, is because a lot of people are able to pull stuff up, and they're pulling all the sources, they're pulling sources, they're pulling WikiLeaks, they're putting all the articles for you to go ahead and research yourself. Also, too, if anybody's watching this, don't use Google to Google search any of this stuff. Use DuckDuckGo because Google
Right.
is heavily censored. Um, so but exactly what you're saying is like even at the crypto stuff, crypto is so small. I've taken pictures with people that are complete whatever, that stuff ends up coming up about them later, because when I'm at these events, I got people like my email, my inbox, I get at least 100 request, can you do an interview, can you meet with this person, can you do this, can you do that? I don't fucking answer any of them, but people see me, like, can I take a picture with you? They want to post it because they want the interactions or whatever the hell, because I'm like the 1 out of 5 women in crypto. And I always, what am I going to do, tell people no, I'm not going to take a picture with you? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah. You can't. Yeah, you can't really do that.
but
People might think you're like stuck up or something like that, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and plus I do the meetups. Well, I used to do the meetups, but just really quick, like on this one, real this the last thing is that there are a lot of female feminists that are causing a huge problem. That are encouraging all these other women to show their bodies. I get that OnlyFans, you can make good money, but what you're sacrificing your dignity at the end of the day. And I have nothing against it because, like I said, I've had friends that were sex workers. I've had friends that were strippers, Playboy models, all that type of stuff. I support them, but at the end of the day, you have to understand the way men are going to perceive you and the way the rest of the world is going to perceive you. And I don't know. I just at this point, because my age, and I'm a mother, you're not going to catch me posting stuff like that because I just hold myself to a different standard. And as far as these girls, I feel sorry for them that they got caught up in it, and both Jelaine and Jeffrey Epstein are scumbags.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's quite interesting to see the mystery around Epstein's alleged death and Ghislaine Maxwell and this judge. And I'm just watching, right? And I don't want to say too much because I definitely fear for my life. I fear that you could become targeted, especially being like a high profile individual talking about some of this stuff. And I hate that I have to fear for my life, but
Well, your father.
that's the problem. If I was single, oh, I'd be out here wilding on these motherfuckers. You know what I mean? But I got kids, I got a girl I got to think about, so, but I say as much as I can and talk about as much as I can. But the fact that I fear lets us know how deep and how well connected these pedophiles and sexual traffickers are. Like, they're at the highest levels of society as far as income and influence is concerned. And that's what makes it so dangerous. It's not like it's just like some lower class scumbag, right? It's like the you know, people who run shit in politics, in economics, lobbying behind the scenes, like people who control our lives are fucking trafficking kids. And that shit's fucking disgusting, man. It's scary too.
Yeah, it's and that's why I would love to speak out about it more. And that's why what's one of the reasons what motivated me to go do the crisis work at this shelter, because I feel like that's probably the best way for me to have a voice and for me to actually do something positive to help. Because I can post on social media all I want. I've
Mm.
gotten into multiple arguments with people like in private chats about it. Because anytime I bring any of this stuff up, they're like, well, "What about Trump? Well, what about Trump? Well, what about Trump?" And I'm not even talking about Trump. We're talking about
Right.
the kids and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm like, you don't even know if that's who I want to vote for. I might want to vote for Kanye. Who knows?
Right. Right. Shout out to Sketch Therapy holding us down in the chat as moderator. Sketch, you are MVP. Shout out to Brody McFarland in the chat. I see you, homie. Merc Blue, what's up, bro? Kristen, holding us down, moderator. Love you, love you, love you. There was a comment here from Jillian Griffith. She said no one is talking about the young boys that were on the island. I didn't even know young boys were on the
I
island.
didn't
That's news
I
to me.
I didn't know either. I knew that there's kids, but I didn't know about the boys.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. There's boys on the island too? Jesus Christ. Millions of missing children in America. Yeah. Um
800,000 a year, they say. And the
and that
interest
and that number stays the same.
and they're all coming out of Ohio. They're coming in and out of Ohio. If you go look at the numbers in Ohio, it's 10 kids go missing a day in Ohio. 10.
Wow.
10.
Wow. And Virginia is known for missing black girls. Missing black girls, I think the same amount every year, which means there's like usually if their population's increasing, you'll see an increase or decrease or some fluctuation in numbers. But it seems like, and I forget where these numbers are. I haven't reviewed this stuff in a while, but they said the same amount of missing black children and girls every year from the VA area, the Virginia area, and it's just peculiar that it's always like around the same ballpark number, and so which lets you know that who's ever kidnapping and stealing these children and abusing them are doing this based upon calculations. Like they're calculating how many they want to take, right? Which makes it even more insidious and disgusting. It's just like, damn, like you
Well,
guys got this shit like an
the fact
economy.
the fact that you said in Virginia that it's just black girls that they're taking, that says something too, because then you're narrowing it down to a specific race, to a specific group of people that they're taking. Because
Yeah.
like in Los Angeles, for example, I don't know what the stats are here, but like we're very everybody is there's lot of different cultures. Like you're not going to go into a neighborhood and it's not necessarily going to be all black. It's going to be black, Hispanic, white, Asian, that whatever it is. So the fact
Right.
that they're going and they're targeting that specific group, like that's it's just
Yeah. Mr. Big All 03 499 Super Chat, thank you. He said, all love from Chicago. I think it's worth saying the richest money enables people's worst desires. Yeah, yeah. Sketch therapies. He said, I say Epstein is a CIA honeypot to force policy through blackmail. Ooh, interesting tinfoil take. Tinfoil hat take there. I love it. I love it.
well, I know I gotta go. I gotta get on Alex Jones and talk to him about all this stuff.
I'll
But
tell him
I
to bring you on. You want me to tell him to bring you on? I'll
tell him
text it right now.
tell him to bring me on. Tell him to bring on. We're going to talk about this stuff. But me personally, I think that he's a cover up. That Epstein, that there's bigger people behind it, and they're using him as a they're using him as a like a scapegoat, and all these celebrities too, with just all this bizarre stuff that's happening with them and the way they're acting. But that's that. So before we go, because we're hitting our time soon, you want to get in Kim and Kanye.
Let's talk Kim and Kanye.
All right. Do you think Kanye is? Do you think he's got bipolar disorder?
Um, Hold on. She wants to talk pedophiles, and I'm texting them right now. Sex, trafficking, because this shit needs to be fucking talked about. Yo, you fucking touching little girls and snatching people. Like fuck y'all. Like these motherfuckers need to be talked about, man. These motherfuckers need to be exposed. All right, so my bad. We're talking Kanye and Kim. What'd you say?
Kanye Kim, do you think that Kanye is bipolar?
Yes,
I do too.
yes, yeah. I think so. I think he's. I mean, and I'm not saying this based upon some sort of guess or assumption. He said it himself. He's got bipolar. But here's the thing about mental illness and the people that have been criticizing his mental illness. Half these motherfuckers on Twitter got mental illness.
It's true.
Like half the people criticizing Kanye, like y'all got some mental issue, man. We all got some mental issue. I know I'm a little bit fucking psycho and a little bit retarded, you know. We all got a little bit of trauma that we deal with, from childhood or whatever it may be. Um, so I just didn't like the way people were treating him. And you say he's got a mental illness, right? And it's just like, all right, cool. But you also say that we have to have sympathy and empathy for people who have mental illness, but you're showing Kanye none, and you're lambasting him consistently on social media, and it's just a complete contradiction to the consensus gnosis that America has today based upon the subject of mental illness.
So I agree with you. I think that he's definitely got something, but generally, people that have some sort of mental illness like Asperger's or autism or bipolar, because I struggle with my own stuff. I've got like severe anxiety and depression to where I get debilitated and sometimes I can't get out of bed. But it's also something that drives me. That's one of the ways because I get pretty manic sometimes. So I focus on one thing and I just go, go, go. And I was talking to my mom about my dad because my dad died when I was like 11, but I didn't really know him because he was sick most of the time. My mom was like, your dad was the same way. Your dad was highly intelligent, but he would get these manic episodes where he would just start talking and doing all this stuff. But then he was successful. He had a desk job where did traditional finance, did millionaire loans for celebrities and whatnot. He had the kung fu studio, and then he sold slot cards to people in China, and then he bought like collector's items and crazy stuff, crazy like Japanese Chinese war garments or whatever. But it was
Mm-hmm.
because he was just like, so, that's just how a lot of successful people are. But if you look at people like Einstein, or you look at like Tesla, you look at all the like Elon Musk, all these people, they've got a little kink to them. They're not just
Yeah.
normal. The only thing that concerns me about Kanye is I watched some of the speech. I listened to what you said about Harriet Tubman, and I actually agree with what you said. But the thing that kind of got me off a little bit when he was talking about his daughter, and he started crying about that, I didn't understand what he really meant about that.
Yeah, I think he's talking about the subject of abortion, right?
Okay.
So his album coming out is called Donda with Child, and we know that he's running for presidency. And one of the huge talking points today is surrounding abortion, and Kanye is pro-life, and we know how the left feels about abortion. And so when he said, "I almost killed my daughter," he was basically saying like, "I almost aborted her," right? And I think he felt some guilt there. I've aborted a child before, and I still choke up sometimes thinking about that, right? Like, damn, like what the fuck, yo? Like, damn, did I really made that decision? Like it like as I'm speaking about it right now, I'm kind of like fucked up about it. So I understood when he said that, I understood why he was getting choked up because you killed somebody, like I killed somebody, and that shit fucking hurts, yo. Like to know that you made that decision to like abort this life, it can take a toll on you, and it just fucking hurts, man. So when he broke down, I felt him. I felt his pain. And I'm like, yo, I know what he's feeling, yo. I know exactly what he's feeling. I even felt it. I even felt it with my girl because she's hemorrhaging and etc. And she's not
Mhm.
herself. And I felt disgusting because her body was going through those you know, repercussions from the operation, and sitting in the hospital with her. And it's just like, I'm a fucking scumbag for that shit. So I don't know how people could even advocate for something like that, like why would you advocate for that? I understand that some people can't bring a child into this world because of money or so on and so forth. But I think there's another way. I think, again, and like, it's not about finding the cure for cancer. It's about preventing people from carrying the habits that cause cancer, right?
Right.
And changing our lifestyle so we don't get cancer. I'm all about preventative medicine as opposed to after the fact. So the same thing with abortion. I'm like, the conversation is about how do we have responsible sex, and how do we like I said, like the left is all about like sex work, and they believe in this shit with like young girls, and that shit's not fucking cool for young girls. Like it's like girls like 17, right? And they're waiting for the day they turn 18 to fucking join that industry. And I'm like, that shit's not fucking cool at all. So like, I don't know. It's and the left is pushing that like sex work is okay and killing babies is okay. And it's like, how are you not pro life? Like you really have to be an evil motherfucker to not be pro life, or you ain't really thinking about the process, or what abortion is. You're not actually understanding what's happening. I can't even wrap my mind around what anybody on the left. I know what the evil mother. There's some fucking satanic people, so of course they're pro death. But I mean, the plebs, the people that underneath them that are pushing for this stuff, they're going based upon theoretical. Like, oh, black women don't have access to abortion. It's just like, is that what you want black women to have access to? Instead of saying black women don't have access to finer education, right?
Exactly.
right? Like where is this conversation going? Like why do you want black women to have access to kill people? You know, and then when we look at the history of Planned Parenthood, you know,
It's
like my
disgusting.
homie,
It's disgusting.
he sent me something the other day. He was like, "Yo, did you hear about this?" And I was like, "Of course I did." And I gotta read this now. Shout out to the homie, Pete. He know who he is. But it says right here, he said, "We do not want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population, and the minister is the man that can straighten out that idea if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious members." Right? This is coming straight from like Margaret Sanger, the person that created Planned Parenthood. And you got black women who you bring this up and they're like, oh, well, she's dead. Or, Planned Parenthood isn't about that anymore, right?
No,
And
it
it's
still
just
is.
like,
That's a person that founded it. It's the ethos behind it.
what we had another hidden video that came out, and dudes walk into I believe it was a Planned Parenthood, and he says to her, "Yo, look, we're sex trafficking young girls. Some of them need abortions. How can we go about that, right?" And the lady counselor is sitting them telling them, "Hey, we can do the process and this, that, and the third." If it was me, I'd been like, "Y'all doing what?"
I'm
Hold on,
calling.
I'll be right back.
You're catching these hands, and I'm calling the fucking police. Is what I'm doing. I'm sorry.
Yo, for real. Like, I think there may be a bit of fear, right? Like fear for your life. And I think maybe because I'm just quick, I can think quick on my feet, but I would say, okay, yeah, I understand. Hold on one second. I gotta use the bathroom, right?
It-
And I'd go in the bathroom and I'd be calling 911, like, yo, come the fuck down here. Like, we got some fucking, sexual traffickers here, right? And she's like having a conversation like it's just normal. And it's like, is she getting paid a commission to kill babies? Because that's the type of conversation they were having. And then fucking Planned Parenthood is selling babies off to like the fucking fetal cells and shit like that. And it's just like, yo, like this shit is so satanic. And then you pop up and you say, I'm pro-life, and the left calls you wrong. How is the left gonna call you wrong for being pro-life? What's the opposite of pro-life? Pro-death. They call it pro-choice. No, pro-choice is not the opposite of pro-life. The opposite of pro-life is pro-death. Pro-choice is the choice to choose life. Who would choose death? Shit's crazy, yo.
Well, what do you? Because I had a I there was I had a situation that happened when me and my man first got together. I got pregnant, and I was pregnant, and I was ended up being an ectopic pregnancy, but they weren't 100% sure if it was an ectopic pregnancy or not. I was in a lot of pain. I was
What?
very an ectopic pregnancy. That's when the fetus, the baby is stuck in your tube, so they weren't able to
Oh,
see it. But if you had like so my case was, this is what happened in my case. It was very, very early. I knew I was pregnant, but I was very, very sick and my body was not right. I was sick.
mm,
Something was wrong. And they
mm,
told me, they're like, we can't see where the baby is, but we're really sure that you have an ectopic pregnancy. You could either wait, and if it explodes in your fallopian tube, like it could burst your tube and you die. That's like that's, you could die. So I was given the
right.
choice. I was given the choice. You either get the injection to terminate the pregnancy, or you wait and you see what happens. So I was young. I was 20. So I made that choice to do it, to terminate, because I was sick to the point where I was getting very dizzy, and I couldn't function. So
Yeah,
it was either wait like a month or two feeling like shit every single day, and then, or to do that. So there's, because
I
this
can
could be,
understand that.
that was it could be a complicated case, per
Yeah.
person. So that was my choice at the time, and it still bothers me. But at the same time, I'm like, I know my body really well. Something wasn't right, because when I got pregnant with my daughter, I knew when I got pregnant right away. I could feel the difference, and it was just a very healthy. It was like a good vibe, a good feeling. Like I felt healthy. But with the one prior, I didn't. But I guess my question to you would be, what if what if the woman is a prostitute? What if she is on crack? She doesn't stop doing crack or heroin, whatever the drug is, and she continues to keep getting pregnant with children, and she's not given the option to get an abortion. What do you do?
So we're talking about somebody who is a crackhead, right?
just strung out on
Yeah.
drugs or alcohol to where they're on the streets, they're being a prostitute, they don't care about anyone but themselves, they're not going to take care of this kid, they're probably going to put the child into prostitution or hurt them. What do you do with somebody that's making these choices? Because I knew somebody that was a white couple and they adopted black babies, and the babies, there was three of them, and the mother kept having kids after kid after kid, and they could only take, their house was only so big to where they could, I think they took three or four of the kids, but the mom kept having kids, and it was very hard for them as adoptive parents because they're like, we don't want to we want to keep all the kids together. It was very hard for them. So
Mm.
there's, I mean,
Yeah, so that's why, my dream is the sanctuary, right? Like
right.
to build this sanctuary. So, because the problem is the environment, right? So, I literally want to take somebody who may be in an environment filled with drugs and fly them out to like South America and put them in like one of those rehab centers where they treat them with ibogaine or something like that, because in America you can't treat people with iboga legally. I think ibogaine may be obtainable
Is that
through
the
some.
healing, isn't it like a crazy healing drug? Or not a
uh,
drug, but
I would
it's a fruit.
it's a plant. Yeah, it is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
plant. It's called iboga, and the synthetic version that they use in modern medicine is called ibogaine. Um, so I would love to take somebody out of their environment, put them there, but I think the problem is the mental rehabilitation afterwards, and then putting the ability to put somebody on their feet, right? So relevant skills. So after the rehab, moving them into relevant skills and training, right? All paid for by Hotep Nation, right? And then rehabilitating this person so that they can be reintroduced back into society. Because when you take somebody who is a crackhead and you rehabilitate them and then you send them back out into the same neighborhood, even if they don't get back on drugs immediately, like what's the best job they can get? Working at McDonald's, right? So then they're like,
Even
yo,
if McDonald's will hire them, because a lot of companies well, actually, I take that back. There's a lot of corporations that they actually will hire people that have been to prison that have felonies because they get like an extra $10,000 a year to do so. So they're actually making money on it or whatever it is.
right. But then you look at your lifestyle based upon that type of income and the embarrassment of people seeing you at McDonald's at the age of 50 years old or whatever it may be, and that stuff is kind of could get depressing. The fact that you can barely make your rent payments, even on Section 8, and then now you're back looking for drugs to cope with your emotions, But I think we're getting off topic with the Kanye shit, but
We should do a special episode that's dedicated to this, and we should
yeah.
both of us should take some time to really think about both scenarios and to think about some special circumstances on both sides so that we can actually
I
discuss it.
mean, yeah, I got family that I got crack cousins, so I this shit hits home.
Okay, well,
Shout out to Mr. Big All 03 said 100 of black girls go missing in Chicago. Indeed, indeed. So yeah, let's talk Kanye and Kim.
all right. So I do think Kanye is bipolar. I understand. I'm glad that you clarified that about the abortion because I didn't really know what he was. I knew he was upset. I think he was having a manic episode on Twitter. That's why when I saw, I was like, just say prayers for their family because he's obviously going through something. Generally, when people have these manic episodes, when they come out of it, they come out very creative and they have a direction, things that happen if you're able to get a hold of these episodes. But I'm kind of, do you read Kim's Instagram post about Kanye?
The one written by her PR team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally like what Kim's doing. I like the work that she's doing for the underserved communities, especially those that are in jail, because she's actually using her platform to help people that were wrongfully accused or to help people that have like 20-year sentences for stuff that
It's
like
petty.
ridiculous. Yeah, so I support that. I like,
Nonviolent crimes.
huh?
Nonviolent crimes.
Exactly. I like the statement that her PR team put out. Um, I just we don't really know what's going on, so it's hard for us to judge. And you have all these idiots on Twitter that are just, oh, Kanye this, Kim this, and they're out here judging. It's like what you say. Shut up and just listen. Just take a
Yeah.
step back and just watch, because a lot of these people, they're out here. I was getting into with people. I'm like, do you know anybody with mental illness? No. Have you worked with anyone with mental illness? No. I'm like, then shut the fuck up.
Right.
What are you talking about? I worked with people that are mentally ill for 7 years when I worked in healthcare. Most of my clients had that. I had clients commit suicide. It's like he's going through a manic episode. If he wants to run for president, let him run for president. He's going to have, it's not just going to be him running for president by himself. He's going to have a group of advisors guiding him, helping him. You know, if he wants to have a meltdown, whatever, they'll deal with it then. But if he wants to run for president, I think it's a good thing to let him run for president.
Yeah. 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 Like you said, I don't know what Kanye and Kim are going through in a relationship, right? And the last thing I want to do is speculate, because I think that's kind of whack, right? But whatever it is, right? Like, so let's first talk about the tweet, right, where he talks about like Kim infidelity with Meek Mill, right, or insinuates some sort of potential infidelity with her and another rapper.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, I personally, I wouldn't do that, right? Like, I'm not talking about my relationship on Twitter, right? Nobody's ever even seen my girl on Twitter. They might not even see my daughter, you know? They definitely see my sons, but you definitely will not witness the women in my life. I protect them with, I guard them with my life. Um, but with that said, I have a great relationship with the women in my life. I don't know what type of relationship he has with Kim and being a celebrity, right? So he said Kim and Chris tried to 5150 him. You're familiar with that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anybody's not familiar, it's basically you basically get arrested and committed to like a psychiatric ward, right?
You have a family member that calls, say there's specific verbiage you use. You have to use the verbiage, I'm scared my family member is going to harm me or harm somebody else. And unfortunately, I've actually had to do that with a family member who was on drugs, because they were completely off of the rails. And if you say that specific verbiage, they will come, they will take you, and they will put you into a facility where you can get the treatment that you need.
Yeah. So when Kanye said that Chris and Kim wanted to 5150 him, I think there's some sort of trust that was broken down. And I think that's a serious barrier of trust that was broken, right? Or bond of trust that was broken because you're committing him to something that he might not even need, right? Like just because he's expressing himself doesn't mean you need to commit him to a hospital, right?
Right. But then again, we're also not there. We're not inside the household. We don't know what's going on.
Correct, correct. But again, uh, if he's got a mental illness or not, there's still a lack of trust where you say, yo, you're going to take away my rights as an individual instead of like working with me. Like, I don't think I could ever like commit somebody to any agency, especially run by the government. You'd have to be really out there for me to say, yo, I'm calling the cops or I'm calling this person, I'm calling that person. Cause I feel like there's a lot, maybe because I feel like I'm compassionate and intelligent. So I could kind of like work through some of that stuff, but I couldn't see Kim. I couldn't see Kim trying to do that to Kanye. I think that's really foul.
I can agree with you there, but the only thing I will say is, I have had to call and use that verbiage to get somebody the help that they needed, because
Or
it
what
was,
did they do?
what did they do? I would have There was multiple times, so I would have to I would have to think.
Was there
Well,
like physical?
it was physical when it gets to
Right.
be
And that's what I'm saying. Like Kanye, I don't think there's anything physical happening,
right.
right? He's
Well,
just tweeting and he's at a rally and
that's fine. See, that stuff's fine, but also too, somebody that was very close to me, their brother he became like bipolar and completely full flight from reality. Like,
mm,
the person, and it was when he would turn 16. I don't know if it was from drugs or whatever it was, but he would have these episodes. I would be over there. They were scary, where he would start throwing knives in the wall, all different types of crazy
oh
stuff.
yeah, that's wild. That's wild.
So that type of stuff, that needs to happen. Like, the person needs to be removed and needs to get help. But again with Kanye, we're not there in the house to know. And there's also, they've got kids too. When you've got kids in the house, it becomes more complex.
Yeah, I mean, trying to decrypt his tweets, it seems like he's in Wyoming and the family's still in LA.
Okay.
That's
Well,
that's
well, if he's
that's
in Wyoming, let him be. Let him do whatever he's got to do in Wyoming.
yeah. So I don't think it's something like physical, and I don't think Kanye's the type of person that would get physical with somebody. You know, I definitely don't see him as that type of person. I think I think there's a level of embarrassment Kim is worried about as far as Chris and the brand of the Kardashian and Jenners
They've
is what
already
they're
they're
trying
already a
to.
mess. They're a
Right.
mess.
Right. But I think that's what they're trying to protect, right? Is their brand and how they portray it. And then when Kanye talks about, oh, you're not gonna sell my daughter to Playboy, you know, taking those shots at Chris and selling her daughters into Playboy and so forth, you know, and that's when Chris is like, oh no, you know, like I can see Chris saying, oh, we gotta do something about this. And you know, they look you gotta understand like the Kardashian and Jenner family, they're all about the fame. They're all about their brand, and they'll do anything to protect it. And I think Kanye operates on a different type vibe, where I think Kanye's just way more genuine. But I don't. Like I said, I wouldn't go to Twitter to talk about my relationship with my woman. I think it's just kind of corny. But again, I don't know what happened between him and Kim. And if I was in his shoes, maybe I would reach out to Twitter and say, yo, this is happening in my life. And this is, for example, this is a way to protect himself, right? Because the media will make up lies about him,
That's true. That's true.
right? So if he doesn't let things become public first and let the media get to people's minds first, that means a lot, right? So a year from now and they file and they get divorced, right? And then people say, oh, Kim divorced Kanye. Well, you can't say that now because Kanye already said, I tried to get a divorce already, right? A few times or whatever he said in that cryptic tweet, right? So he's covering his ass is what I think is happening. He's getting in front of the story so the Jenners and Kardashians can't control it in the future.
That makes sense. That's why I'm glad we had this conversation because I like to hear your perspective on things because sometimes I get blindsided by my person. I start to think about, okay, well, this experience and this and that. So I feel like, and this happens to all humans, is that we take our personal experiences and it makes us biased at times. And it's not because we want to be biased, but it's because we experienced X, Y, and Z, so we don't really know what else. So that's why it's good to talk to somebody else and get their perspective because I don't know, you might have walked through similar shoes. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's what I think it is. I think he's just being transparent, letting people know in case, like he said, don't, you know, they might Nelson Mandela me, you know. So I think he's trying to get ahead of the story to protect his life, to protect his legacy, to protect his legend, to protect his story. That's how I look at it. And I don't know what he's going through, but I can understand from that perspective.
What a show.
I know we had like first serious show at 15 episodes.
No, no, we talked about some serious stuff before, but we like to break it up with some humor because life is about humor and relationships are light. I mean, I've got some more topics that we are going to touch on when I get back from vacation, just different things that I've been seeing. I pull tweets from people and I give them credit for it,
Yeah.
but no, we really didn't because we talked about Canada and the sex laws in Canada.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I
Well,
got one question before we go though.
okay.
How are you supposed to use a glory hole if if your significant other is pregnant? How does that work? And very pregnant.
You giving me some crazy visuals. What's going on, Wendy?
I'm just saying because they didn't specify that in the guidance.
Yeah, yeah. Can I give you my theory on why Kanye got with Kim?
Please, please.
She's automatic PR, right? And I think that Twitter hackers access direct messages in 36 accounts, including elected officials. Wow. Okay. Somebody just texted me that. So yeah, I mean DM me that. So I think that I think he looked at Kim and I think there was some attraction. You know, Kim looks good. I ain't gonna lie.
He was very obsessed with her sex tape. He came out publicly and talked about that.
Yeah, I think there was some attraction there, right? And
There was a
I
lot
think
of attraction.
and I think that's old Kanye, not new Kanye. New Kanye's like definitely like on some wholesome shit. He doesn't even want to curse on records that much anymore. He's watching his content on records now. But when he first got with Kim, people were like, why would he do that? And I'm like, who can the biggest rock star date? Who could he date? Like you can't date no normal chick, right? You need to date somebody like that's on your level. And who you going to date that's a black woman that's going to let you be Kanye? I hate to bash black women outside of the Hotep women. Like Hotep black women are the best women, I think. But some of these black women are just a little too liberal, right? So there's like a political clash. And I say it in my book, Unbreakable Rules of Masculinity. Link is in the description box below. But I say it like you have to know your political alignment before you get with the opposite sex. And I think Kanye understands his political alignment, and it's really hard to find a conservative black woman or somebody you can be yourself with when you're dealing with black women because they're so caught up in the life, and the glitz and glam and stuff. And Kanye, he loves the fashion, but he's conscious of it. He's always been conscious of, he said, we're all self-conscious. I'm just first to admit it, right? So it's one thing to love Gucci. It's another thing to be conscious of your lust of Gucci. You see what I'm saying? Or your lust of Louis Vuitton. So he's always been conscious of his lust of the materialism of life. And I think he looked at Kim as like, I'm a rock star. The only thing I can do is date a woman who's a rock star. And Kim is the most popular woman on the planet, arguably, right?
Hmm.
She's the most Googled woman like almost every single year. So if you chose a woman, you have to choose somebody that's close to your stature or close to your celebrity, right? And I also looked at it as, Kanye, like this album role that we have now, like he's not paying for advertising, he's hijacking the entire conversation just by being himself. And I think he looked at Kim like saying, well, if I date Kim, that's guaranteed headline. I never have to promo again. All I got to do is stand next to her, right? So I think that's part of the relationship. And what people have to understand is a marriage is a business relationship because love falls off, lust falls off. And the only thing that's going to be left is, the substance of relationship, whether it's business or your philosophy, and I think he looked at her like this is a really good business move for me and my brand. And if things don't work out, we can always get a divorce and I can go get a new woman. I'm fucking Kanye West. So I think he was looking at it as a business decision. And from a business standpoint, I think it was a great decision.
You know, I think I disagree with you a little bit. I think
Okay.
that was part of it, but I think that I feel like Kanye is not a good looking man. He's not a good looking man. I don't think. I I I
I don't know.
I don't think that he's attractive. There's other men that I think they're more attractive. Other rappers that I think are a lot more attractive. We won't go there today. But I think that he really actually did love her. Really, really, really loved her. Was kind of infatuated with her, and then her being who she is, that probably helped a little bit. But I think he really cared for her at 11. I think that she got with him because she was tired of dating all these idiots, and
She wanted
and
to date the biggest rock star in the industry.
yes and no.
She went from celebrity to celebrity. Again, when you're a celebrity, you can have anybody you want. Why do other celebrities date other celebrities?
I don't. I think I feel I want to be the hopeless romantic, and I want to say it was more than that.
No, no, Wendy. No, no. She dated Kanye because he's a fucking rock star. He's the biggest rock star since Michael Jackson.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to disagree. I think that was
He's
a
not the biggest rock star since Michael Jackson.
that's fine. That's an okay statement to make.
Uh,
But my thing is,
and she's not a gold digger. She didn't jump
I
from
I think
rapper to
she had her own money. Didn't she have her own
no.
money?
She's an attention whore. She's an attention whore. She went from Paris Hilton, right,
Hmm.
to then once she got her own little sex tape with Ray J, right? Then the whole Ray J thing fizzled out. Then she went to the next football player, right? And then she was bouncing around from celebrity to celebrity, right? A woman who secured herself, you wouldn't even know about their relationship, like people don't know that Pharaoh Monch is dating um um goddamn, why am I drawing a blank? But then like they don't know who Pharaoh Monch is dating, right? Like when it's about love, you ain't trying to like just date any old body. Kim
That's fine.
Kardashian chose Kanye West because he's the greatest rock star to ever live since Michael Jackson.
I think he loved her before, and I think she saw that how well he would treat her, and I think that's one of the reasons why she went with him. On top
No,
with some of the other, I
no,
agree with. I'm not disagreeing with everything you're
no.
saying, but I
They
am gonna.
chose each other because it was a business move.
I don't think it was a business move 100%.
How not? It was it was the
Because
greatest.
you
Look
could
at how
tell
many.
the way he looked at her. You could tell the way he was looking at her. He was
If I was
infatuated with her. It
dating
was
Kim
cute.
K too, I'd look at her the same way. She fine. The doctor did a good job creating that woman.
It was a different type of way. There's this different type of way a man looks at a woman when he loves her, and or when he just thinks she's a good piece of ass. He looked at her
She
like
had his
she loved
baby.
her.
She had his baby. When somebody had your baby, you kind of got to give them that look.
Not necessarily.
If you a good man,
Well,
and Kanye's a good man,
he looked at her before they had the baby like that. You could tell he loved her. So I agree with some of it, but I'm not going to
because
buy into all of
Kim
it.
Kardashian is a professional seductionist. She's a
Succubant.
professional. She's a succubus. So of course he's gonna look at her like that because she's a professional succubus.
No, there's a difference. There's a difference. I think he really did love her.
I'm not denying that he didn't love her. I'm not denying that. What I'm saying is the matrimony was solidified based upon a business decision. She chose him because he's the greatest rock star, and he chose her because she's the greatest woman to grace this planet since Marilyn fucking Monroe.
True, but I think there was love. I think that there was. I'm
No, no.
fine. We're gonna end. We're
Do you
ending our show
think,
on
do you
beef.
think,
Beef.
no, we's gonna finish this damn debate. Do you think Beyonce chose Jay-Z because Jay-Z's cute? Or
Oof.
because she loved Jay Z? You think that? No,
I
that's
don't
a
know.
business decision.
I don't know.
Jay
I don't.
Z and Beyonce. You know what? I predicted Jay Z and Beyonce would get together way before they were a couple, at least 5 years ahead of time. And my homie said, "You think so?" I'm like, "Yes," because it's a great business decision. That's what you do. You marry based upon business. It's the history of marriage is based upon creating your empire. When we had who was it? The fucking Italian gangster, Genovese family, right? The Genovese family. What's his name? Vito Genovese, right? When Vito, his wife was gay, right? She's a lesbian. And when he first of all, he murdered her previous husband, right? And she married him. Why? Because it's a good business decision. Now she can be a lesbian and be free, right? So people don't get married just because of love. People get married because of other interests too, and business interests as well, right? So you can't just say it's just love. A lot of people got love. Some people love some people and they whoop their ass. They beat their wives and they ain't in love, right? Kanye chose Kim. Kim chose Kanye because he's the greatest rock star since Michael Jackson.
I'm gonna agree to disagree here because I think there was. Yes, it was a business transaction, but I do think there was a little bit of more. There was more love there.
Who dominate headlines better than them? Not even Beyonce and Jay Z can dominate headlines better than Kanye and Kim
But
K.
there's still people too. You still need to feel that warmth and that love.
Fuck that warmth and love. It's about getting that money. Kim, don't forget Kim bailed Kanye out of debt.
That's true. Well, you know what?
I love you
Maybe
too if you pay off million
this is
dollars
why
of
I'm
debt.
poor is because I'm too human. I need to be tough. I need to be harder.
Kanye dated Kim because she was high caliber human being as far as status, and she had money, and she bailed him out of debt, right? because Kanye is the greatest rock star ever, and she believed in him because he's the greatest rock star ever since Michael Jackson. And that's why she bailed him out. That's why he's a billionaire right now. Because she believed in him as a businessman, as a brand. These celebrities, because they love each other, they don't date because they enjoy sex with each other. They date because they can boost their profile in the media. That's why they date. And to think anything other is to be naive, crypto Wendy O.
Let me be the idiot, hopeless romantic that I am, okay? Let me have
Ain't no
this.
fucking thing is
Let me
romance.
have
Ain't no
this.
fucking
Let me
such
have
thing as
this.
love. What did McAfee say? Ain't no such thing as so fucking love.
Well, that's because that's McAfee. By the way, he's supposed to eat his own dick
What? Why are you telling me this?
because he predicted that Bitcoin was supposed to be $1 million by X amount of date, and it's not.
Oh, that deadline passed already?
I think it did.
Oh my god. But what did McAfee say? Why did McAfee choose Janice?
She's
It
a
wasn't
bad
because of
bee.
love.
She's a
It
bad.
wasn't because she was street smart. She was
Mm-hmm.
savvy. She had his back and he could trust her, right? It wasn't about love. McAfee, if y'all haven't watched the interview with John McAfee yet, the multi-billionaire, you need to go watch that right now. It's on this channel. But what did McAfee say? Ain't no such thing as no damn love, Wendy. Wendy O.
I'm a hopeless romantic. That's it. That's it.
Kanye is the greatest rock star, the greatest planet since Michael Jackson. And before Michael Jackson, it was James Brown.
I love James Brown.
James Brown's a fucking man.
He was awesome.
Outside of him beating women, but yeah, he was the fucking man.
Little Richard was amazing too. Really, really.
Yes, he was.
He laid the foundation for like literally everyone.
Yeah, him, Frankie Lamas, um, Clive. Yeah.
Fats
But
Domino did good too. I forget the guy with the guitar. He had the different guitar. It was different than everyone else's guitar, and everyone took the sound from him. He was a black guitarist.
Prince,
Who?
Prince.
Oh, I love. So I've been listening to a lot of Miguel. I love Miguel's stuff, and I heard the cover of the Prince cover he did. Phenomenal. Miguel is like I want to say my favorite like R&B artist in today's day and age.
Talent. Yeah, super
He's
talent.
talented. No, but it was a guy
Yeah.
from way back, and he had the square guitar. Ugh, I don't know who it is.
Yeah, it'll come to me. It'll come to me as soon as I log off of here.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, we're still. Anyways, next week is my birthday, so everybody that's watching this, send me the positive vibes. Send me the wealth, the prosperity, the health, all those vibes. My birthday is going to be next week. I'm actually going to post something, a place for y'all to donate if you guys want to treat me for my birthday to my favorite charity. You guys can donate there. It'd mean the world to me. But we're going to go next week. I am not going to be here because I'm going to be on vacation. But we'll be back the week after that. I'm going to try to get my my boxing coach there so we can talk some relationships with her. She is a baddie. Love her. But yeah. I'll see you in 2 weeks, and I might need to tap you in for some crypto Twitter stuff.
Yeah, tap me in if you need my help. I'm always here. So happy birthday in advance in case I forget. Brody McFarlane, 199 super chat, says shut up and code. And Rosario Vadia, 1999 super chat, thank you, said business decision. Love you guys. I win.
My birthday, I win. All right, guys, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, set alerts, share the shit out of this, support us. Yeah. If you guys want to know about crypto, because I am the baddest bee in crypto, my stuff is down below. We'll chat soon. Bless up, guys. See you soon.